Okay. I decided to do something a little different. Well, not different, not terribly different, but I've been doing a lot of political readings, and I don't want to go there right now. So I've been thinking, what will be interesting for people? And I decided to do a little bit about reading tarot. And this would be for people who don't read tarot, or people that maybe don't read tarot, are interested in tarot, want to learn a little bit more about tarot. And I think this could be a lot of fun. And I think I will have more than one of these videos. So this is sort of an introduction to reading tarot. Now, I have not read tarot for long. I've only read tarot for a year and a half, not long at all. But I pretty much have immersed myself in it, and I really enjoy it. So, in the last 2 Septembers in the fall, I've had home study groups here at my house. So people, I put a notice on the Facebook page for my locality where I live, and I offered to, have just a home study group where we just meet, talk about tarot, and discuss how to read tarot and what our experiences with tarot and all that stuff, exchange information. A wide range of people. Some people were brand new, like myself. Some people were a little more advanced, knew a little bit more about tarot. So I'm sort of taking how I devised that home study group, and I'm going to present it here in parts. And this is just the beginning. This is a very introductory video about reading tarot, and I think you'll find it interesting. And I've had, feeling my way with the home study group. I think this is a pretty effective way to start reading tarot, because it's not memorization and it's not learning. It's just it's just looking at the cards. So we're going to do that today, right now. Now, when you choose to read tarot, the best way to start is with a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And that's kind of the classic deck that you see all over the place. Iconic cards. This is a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. There's many kinds, many with different names, but it's all with these images from Pamela Colman Smith. That's part of the Rider-Waite-Smith part is the illustrator was Pamela Colman Smith. So this is the S part of the RWS, the actual pictures. And so we're going to be using a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And I think everyone should start with that because that's the basic. Now, there's many ways of reading a deck. Like each card has a meaning. This is a major arcana. This has a meaning. If you look in the book, it has a certain meaning. This is the High Priestess. It has a meaning. But what we did at my home study is we don't think about that. We don't think about what card this is and what this archetype expresses. What we're going to do now is just look at the card, and we're going to give our own meanings to it. Now, everyone will have their own meaning for the card. And what we're going to do is we're going to read the cards intuitively. Now, the interesting thing about reading a card intuitively is when you start to read cards and you start to have a facility for reading cards, eventually you'll develop an intuitive sense of the cards. So you'll go back to reading the pictures. So it's kind of good to start out reading the pictures and have that in mind. And then as you go further, learning more about tarot, you'll see how the cards themselves and just the way they look is very important in reading tarot. And it's also a lot of fun. So we're going to do that. We're going to take a card, and we're going to look at a card. I wrote a few notes here. And the first card, we're not going to know anything about this card. We don't know. The numbers will have no meaning to us. The suits or the elements or the elements or the suits won't have any meaning for us. We're not looking at the traditional, what they say in the book, what the card means. We're just looking at the cards. So here's a card, and I would ask you to first describe the card. Very simple. Well, there's a moon or a sun up there in the sky. It looks more like a moon, although there's a moon, and it looks like both actually. And there's a character walking away with a cane, walking away, seemingly away from the light. And in the foreground, there's these vessels of some kind, and there's mountains in the background. And he has a red coat on. So it seems to be a picture of a man walking away from the light into parts unknown. That's what it looks like. And so that's what the card looks like. The next thing you look at is, how do you feel about this card? Do you think it's a positive card? Do you think it's a negative card? And why? Why do you think? What do you think? Is it a positive card or a negative card? Well, it looks to me a little foreboding because it's at nighttime, and we don't see him. He's walking away from us. He seems, and he's hanging on to something, like he's got to be held up with a cane or something. So I get the sense that it looks kind of lonely to me. It looks kind of like a lonely card or kind of a sad card. And that's the meaning I'm giving it. Now that's my meaning that I'm giving it. I'm giving it a kind of a nighttime, sad, lonely, walking away kind of feel to it. So that's my feelings that it generates. The next thing you want to ask yourself is, how does this pertain? Does this feeling of loneliness, walking away, putting your weight on a cane mean anything to me? Yes, it does. It means something that when I was younger, I used to walk with a cane. I don't know why I walked with a cane. I was a weird person. And I remember walking, well, it wasn't a cane, it was a walking stick. But I would walk with a walking stick all over town. I mean, I don't know why, but I did. And so, thinking back to that time, walking around the city with a walking stick, what was going on with me? So that deserves maybe some consideration when I look at this card. I have to get the dogs in. Okay, so where did I put that card? Put it away. Anyway, so that was my response to that card. So I looked at the card and I described it to myself. And you can, so let's take another card and describe another one. Here's another card. Now we definitely have what looks like a moon card, a moon in there. And again, we have very similar coloration as the last one, but there's no people in this card. So I see this more as a landscape, an evening landscape, although the color isn't that dark. There's two animals in the card. There's some water. There's a lobster in the card. So there's columns on the side. There's mountains. Now I ask myself, how do I feel about this card? What are my feelings about this card? Is it a positive card, a negative card? Is it a neutral card? Am I drawn to this card? Am I repelled by this card? I think it's a card that it kind of doesn't make sense to me, this card, because it seems like it's nighttime, but there's still light in the card. It's not dark. The other one had more darkness in it. It seemed like it was later. So this card to me doesn't make a lot of sense because there's two dogs. And if you look more closely, yeah, there's two dogs. I see two dogs. And I see a lobster. I mean, what does a lobster have to do? I like lobsters. I mean, lobsters are delicious. What does a lobster mean? And we have these columns. So I'm getting a sense that this card is kind of, it doesn't make sense. It's kind of impervious to me. I don't know that I feel either positive or negative towards it. It just seems like an odd card, kind of surrealistic card to me, where the elements are just kind of put in there and don't make sense. So I'm thinking this might be some kind of, a lot of symbology in this card where I have to learn more. But right now we're just going with my own feelings, my own thoughts. So how does this card relate to my life? Well, I think it is the moon. The moons do appear in the daytime, usually low on the horizon or off to the side somewhere when the sun's out. You do still see moons during the daytime. So this could be a card. So how does this relate to me? A daylight moon with animals in there and with a lobster. Now, right now I'm thinking this has no meaning to me because it doesn't make any sense. But this is where it gets interesting when you read a card. You can kind of go anywhere with this. It doesn't have to make sense. It's like, well, we have these dogs looking up the moon and they're howling at the moon maybe, or they love the moon. The dogs seem to like the moon. In fact, everything seems to be attracted to the moon. Everything is kind of gravitating up towards the moon. So maybe this is some kind of moon energy that's coming down, moon energy. And what is moon energy? Well, moon energy is powerful when you think of cycles. And so I'm thinking this is an attraction of some kind. And in my own life, I see the moon as being attracted to the moon, but mostly in nighttime, not during the day. So am I still confused about the moon? Well, I have a little bit more understanding. It's something that is attracting something. And if I'm going with what the dogs see or what the crustacean sees, I'm attracted to the moon. And what is that attraction? And now I segue over to, at night, I'm very attracted to the moon. And it's the pull of the moon. It's how it pulls you in. So now I have a little bit more sense of what this card is for me. It's something that is attracting me, something that is not evident at first, but has a pull to it and has a charm to it and is drawing me inward or outward or towards it. So that's so you have to just kind of stay with it too. Be playful with your meanings and your interpretations. We'll do one more. What we're doing is, this is the last one. I want to use this one. This one's just, there's not much going on there. That's not the best card. So here's another one. Here's a good one. This has got a lot going on with it. So we have two naked people, a man and a woman. And we have an angel of some kind. It's an angel. The angel is fully dressed, fully garbed. There's a lot of things going on top with the angel and the wings and the wreath on the angel's hair. And there's some growth here. There's something happening here. This is a very ornate card, which I like. And then you have the juxtaposition of having two humans naked, their nakedness. So this is very intriguing to me. How do I feel about this card? This is very intriguing to me because it's a man and a woman, and it's got this very ornate person and this very kind of simplified people here. Now, what are they doing with their hands? They're not holding hands. They're just kind of standing there. And then there's a mountain in the center, which seems to separate the two figures. And the two figures are there. They're not connected, though. Their hands aren't connected. There's a mountain between them. So to me, it looks like, how do I feel about this card? I'm intrigued by the card. I think it's a visually interesting card. I'm attracted to this card. I like this card. How does this card relate to me? Well, think about this. I'm not sure about the angel, but I think about the two people, a man and a woman. I think about a divorce, not getting along. Uh, they're naked, they're vulnerable, and there's something between them. So I'm thinking this could be a relationship that has not gone well. And I can think of relationships that I had that haven't gone well. Now the thing about this, though, is how do I explain that angel? Is the angel bestowing blessings on the couple, or is the angel just watching the couple? And what is the angel doing? Now, if I look more closely, the angel looks like the angel wants to bring these people together. And what is an angel? An angel is spirit, is a spiritual being. So maybe there's a spiritual connection or a spiritual aspect, clearly a spiritual aspect to this card that may make it more than what I think it is, or may make the possibilities. So I see these two people separated by the mountain, but there is still energy here that's coming in and maybe keeping them together. That's a nice thought. So here we're reading cards intuitively, and we're just looking at cards, looking at the picture, defining, just saying out loud what the picture is. Then we talk about how we feel about the picture. If we're attracted to the picture or not attracted to the picture. If it's a neutral picture. If it's something that you don't like or you do like. And then we try, after we do that, we think about how that picture relates to our life. How does it pertain to our life? What in the picture can bring up a certain memory, a certain want, a certain need, a desire? And so then we take the picture and then we go inward with it and try have it express something within ourselves that's pertinent to ourselves. It could be a memory, it could be a want, a desire, a need, or whatever. And that's reading intuitively with the tarot deck. What this does when you start reading this way, it's fun. It's just fun. There's no pressure. There's no right or wrong. It's about you and the card. It's how you see the card and how you feel about the card and how that card pertains to you. And in doing that, in establishing that, you could have, now that would also be a great thing to journal. So you could look at a card and do those 3 steps and then journal in a book and just say, well, this is where this card means to me at this point. And that is a great way to start. And it's a lot of fun. And you got to try it. You can find decks online or on your phone, an app on your phone where that you can go Rider-Waite-Smith and have it downloaded into your phone or onto your computer, and you could just look at the cards that way. Pick a card, have a card come up, and don't go into the books, don't go into the meanings right away. Go into describing what you see, then then go into your feelings about the card. If you find it interesting, not interesting, something you like, something you're attracted to, something you're not attracted to, and do a little blurb on that. And then see how that card and how you've described it and what you see in the card, how it pertains to you. And that's a good way to start reading cards for tarot. I hope you found this helpful. Anyways, have a great day.